Hey folks, even as I sit down to make this video, I'm wondering how on earth it is that I've not made a video specific about protein in the past. And I think what it is I couldn't bring myself to dignify the question with a response because it is such a non-issue. The whole protein argument, protein deficiency, is such a boogeyman on this plant-based lifestyle that I guess, I forget sometimes that people are new to this and we got to go from the beginning, from the basics. So let's get into it. For those of you who've been plant-based for a while, you'll be wishing you had a banana for every time you've been asked about protein. Usually comes in the form of, where do you get your protein? I have different responses. I go down different routes depending on who it is that's asking the question. Sometimes I just feel like opening my Strava and scrolling through and saying, hey, look, 5,000 Ks in the last 5 months. It's not mind-blowing, but it shows you that my body is going through its repair and recovery, which is why we need protein. Is going through those functions completely adequately based on the protein that I get on this lifestyle. It's usually pretty obvious from the way that I look, how slim I am, how active I am, that my body is functioning better than your meat and dairy eating body is. There's too many people out there that are asking the protein question because it's a question that they can ask. It's a question, it's something to cling on to. It's another excuse for unhealthy behavior, an unhealthy diet and lifestyle. But I'm going to make this video based on the assumption that you are genuinely wanting and believing that the plant-based lifestyle is the way forward, and you're just here to exterminate any niggles that you have before you fully throw yourself into it. So let's start with the economy. First of all, meat and dairy industries prop up most Western economies. That's what's happening. There's an overlap between big food corporations and the government, such that you cannot trust on face value any advertisement you see for any protein-rich food. There's a conflict of interest. There's a conflict of interest behind that advertisement, and so you cannot take it on face value. If the meat and dairy industries were to collapse, were to fall, were to lose money, the economy would fall and collapse and lose money. And so it's something that the government and therefore the bosses at these big food corporations cannot allow to happen. There's a big commercial reason why your teeth, your bones, your skin, these things are cited as reasons to eat protein-rich foods. But in fact, there's a deep underlying commercial reason why that advert is there. Protein-rich food advertisements have become like a plague in our society, and we've got to look deeper. Watch What the Health. There's a documentary called What the Health. You've got to watch What the Health for a deep and detailed picture without me getting too political and controversial in this video. So link down below to What the Health. The truth is, in our modern society, most people suffer from too much protein. That's where disease is coming from. How much protein do you think you need? That's often how I respond to people who ask me, where do I get my protein? Because they don't really know where they get theirs. They don't know what number they need, and they don't know what number of protein they get. At least I have those figures for myself, and I understand the absorbability of the protein sources that I eat. But most people are blissfully unaware of the problems with protein intake. The time at which our body needs the highest calorie percentage from protein is when we are doubling in size. So when we're a baby. So what does a baby eat? Well, the natural food for baby is mother's milk. So how much protein by percentage of calories does mother's milk contain? Well, 5%. 5%, that's it. That is the percentage of calories from protein in mother's milk. So to think that we need any more than that to just survive, to get by, is just, you can see why I didn't make this video. It's so incredulous to me that we are living in the situation. We are living in this protein crazy society that we're living in. It's just so hard for me to settle down and make a coherent video about this because it's such a non-issue in my mind. I've been on this lifestyle for so long. I've been doing the most epic physical activities since I've had the sugar absorption, the good gut, everything I've done since going on the plant-based diet. My health has just been so much better on this lifestyle that it's so hard for me just to even talk about it in a comparison sense. But just look at mother's milk, 5% protein, and if you eat a whole foods plant-based diet and you're not even focusing on protein-rich superfoods, you're just eating a whole foods plant-based diet, you will get 5 to 10% of your calories from protein, and that will be sufficient, more than sufficient, for your daily repair and recovery needs, regardless of what physical activities you're doing. Provided you are eating sufficient calories from good sources, you will be getting enough protein. Do you even know the word for protein deficiency? When was the last time you heard of somebody who was protein deficient? And there are plenty of vegetarians and vegans in society these days, but you've never heard of anyone getting sick from protein deficiency. Have you? Have you? Unless you've been to a place where there's lots of malnutrition, where people literally aren't getting enough food, that's where you hear about protein deficiency. Places like third world countries where food intake is, in general, an issue. But in terms of our society, what are our issues? The issues that we're facing: heart disease, cancer, diabetes. And these are all linked with too high amounts of protein intake. So the issue here, the real issue to address here, is what are we going to do to get our average protein levels down? That's the real issue. So it's hard because people raise the protein issue and they ask me where do I get my protein? And they're coming at it from a point of view of it must be a challenge for you to find enough protein sources. Whereas for me, the real protein issue in society is most people are getting too much. The PCRM, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, Dr. Neil Barnard, those guys believe that on average, most people are eating double the amount of protein that they really need. And milk and red and processed meats have been linked with cancer. According to the World Health Organization, red and processed meats are class 1 carcinogens. That's the same category as cigarettes. And yet there's still advertisements for this stuff. They're not putting any labels on them like this causes death, this causes cancer, etc., like they do on cigarettes. Look, guys, this is what we're up against. This is what we're up against in society. The true problem is protein intake is too high. That's the true problem with protein. So we need to look at ways of getting that down. We need to look at ways of, in society, reducing the amount of protein that we eat. But we're so up against it because, I'm one person. I have a conversation with somebody who for years has had billboards, public health awareness campaigns, Got Milk, all of this stuff, drilling into them that protein is crucial, protein is this, protein that. Protein is the biggest boogeyman that you are likely to come across in our generation. That's how crazy it's become. It's an industry, and the best thing we can do for our health is to just turn inwardly and ask yourself, really, how much protein do you feel you need? If necessary, do an experiment, get enough calories, but only eat whole foods. If necessary, eat raw whole fruits and vegetables, but get enough calories and see how you feel in terms of recovery, your workouts, your skin, your teeth, your bones. Just do your own research, do your own experimentation, and just try to avoid being drawn in and sucked in by all of these confusing messages that we're surrounded by.